A big thanks to my patrons Vanidia Fortes and Handsome Bana for supporting the channel. I'm sure that anyone watching this video could, with relative ease, name at least a handful of their favorite shows, and from there, list a few of the reasons why they're their favorites. For example, I love Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood for its characters and themes. I love the IT Crowd for its jokes and situations. I love The Sopranos for its arcs and character growth. And I love Violet Evergarden for its animation and music. All of these shows mean a lot to me, as not only have they given me countless hours of entertainment, but all of them have taught me lessons that have changed me in some way or another. Although, maybe not the IT Crowd, that one's just really funny. FMA made me take a deeper look at the vices of humanity and their consequences. The Sopranos made me look at the relationships in my life and what they mean to me. And Violet Evergarden made me rethink how important simple words can be. My point being that more often than not, our favorite shows have some kind of deeper meaning to us than others for many reasons. But even of the shows I mentioned, none have had a deeper impact on my life than one other. This anime, along with two different anime films, are potentially the most impactful pieces of media I've seen in my life. I would go as far as to say that without these films and show, I really don't know if I would be where I am today. So, to celebrate my recent milestone of 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to take a dive into the anime that pulled me from the edge, the anime that saved my life. And today, we're starting with Your Lie in April. On the surface, to anyone who passively watched Your Lie in April, it may be tough to think of how it was anything more than a simple romance/music anime. And in the most basic terms, I suppose it is. But, like anything else, removing its surface layers reveals a lot more than initially meets the eye. Oh, also, this may be super obvious, but still, insane spoiler warning for anyone who's yet to watch Your Lie in April. Your Lie in April is definitely a romance story in a way, or rather a tragic romance, but more than that, it's about a young man dealing with and learning to cope with loss. Actually, now that I think about it, it's about various characters learning to deal with different forms of loss. The loss of life, the loss of love, the loss of dreams, and the loss of everything. Our primary view, however, is through the eyes of Kosei Arima and his journey in dealing with the loss of life and its effect on him. Arima is shown very early on and throughout the series to be carrying around a lot of demons. The loss that he lives with is that of his mother, an impactful person for anyone to lose. We also see very early on that his relationship with his mother could be described as strained at best. And it reaches its peak in terms of abuse and bad blood right at the end of her life, leading to Arima throwing out words he'd come to regret for the rest of his. お前なんか死んじゃえばいいんだ! Despite the fact that his time living with and training under his mother was by no means fun or even really sustainable, in the end, her loss cripples him. My biggest takeaway from her death, and later on the death of Kaori, is that even if a relationship is strained and not entirely pleasant, that doesn't mean its ending will be any less devastating. Now, the way that Kaori and Arima spent their time together was arguably a lot less strenuous and painful as with his mother, but there were still definite moments of pain. Arima had to watch as Kaori went off with Watari, believing the entire time he was nothing more to her than friend A. He ended up spending far less time with her because of this, and on top of that, he had to watch her wither away while feeling he couldn't be there for her as much as he wanted to be. The whole point of Arima's journey is growing to be able to move past his loss and grow from it, which is something that only Kaori could do for him. And that's actually what I think the anime is attempting to do as a whole for its audience. Help those suffering from loss move on and grow from it. And that is exactly the reason I love and am grateful for this anime, as it helped me do just that. Losing someone is not exclusively reserved for someone's death. There are many different ways you can lose someone. It could be the end of a friendship, a forced change like having to move, or perhaps a breakup. The act of losing someone can be truly dreadful, but what I think is far worse is trying to adjust to what the normal in life becomes after that person leaves, especially if they happen to be a major part of your life. In Arima's case, losing his mother obviously had a catastrophic effect on him. It led to him essentially abandoning his passion of playing the piano and cutting out much of what he felt about the people and things around him. Tsubaki deals with a different kind of loss, that being the potential loss of a friend and love interest when Arima tells her that he will be leaving to attend music school. Even Watari deals with loss when he misses his final kick during his soccer match, and while he deals with it with a smile out on the field, we later see him crying about it in the stalls. The point is, the entire show is focused on the character's loss, some minor and others major, how they deal with these things, and teaching the audience how to as well. I know personally, watching as these characters dealt with their loss, it inspired me dealing with my own. Watching Arima slowly grow from a sheltered, unconfident, afraid, and lonely person to what he is in the end was very inspiring to me. As was seeing Tsubaki finally moving past the pain of her love for Arima and being content with just being a friend, with of course the exception that she will always be by his side, regardless of their status. And then of course there is Kaori, who has it likely the hardest of them all. And yet she still managed to go out with all her strength and willpower. She had to not only fake a relationship with Watari while truly loving Arima, she also had to live knowing that she would lose him and everyone else when she herself died. While doing all of that, she even went out of her way to try and help Arima cope with his own losses. All of those things truly inspired me and touched my heart to the point that Your Lie in April's ending was likely the most I've ever cried in my life. Well, almost anyway. Because if it weren't for a loss of my own I experienced, it wouldn't have hurt nearly as much. So what is it that makes this anime resonate so much? What exactly brought me to the point of needing to be helped? Back in 2019, I was at a highly transitional period of my life. I was just about finishing high school and was getting ready to make my start at university. Now, this transition doesn't necessarily need to be a rough one, and I know of many friends of mine who had no issues while doing so. That was, however, just not the case for me. The idea of having to say goodbye to most of the friends I had made in the last 4 years was really weighing on me. Now, I'm not an idiot. I know that in this day and age, keeping in touch with friends is easier than ever, but at the time, I really didn't think that things like social media would be enough, and to be fair, with some of my friends it hasn't been. I've lost touch with dozens upon dozens of good friends, and there's nothing I can really do about it, so my concerns weren't totally unwarranted. Friends aside, I was also worried about the transition to university as a whole. The new type of structure that would come with the change in terms of class, lifestyle, and general expenses was weighing heavily on me. No matter which way I sliced it, a lot about how I lived my life was going to have to change in just a couple months, whether I wanted it to or not. I had a lot to think about in regards to my future, including the future of a very serious relationship I was in. I won't go into great detail, but let's say I'd been feeling myself slowly growing more disconnected for a while, and while I was on vacation for an entire month, this disconnect peaked. One night, something in my brain just snapped, and the weight of all of those things became too much to handle, and I crashed. The subsequent months will remain my business for the privacy of many people involved, but know that things got really, really rough for me. I fell into a depression unlike anything I've felt before. Looking back, I'm astonished I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. While I can roughly explain what was going on mentally, it's even clearer if I show you a physical difference. This is a photo of me from July 2019, right as things started to really go badly for me mental health-wise, and here I am again in November. I'd lost over 50 pounds in just about 4 months because I just stopped eating. My stress, as well as poor body image, just wouldn't allow for it. It was really scary looking back at it all now. Before I continue, let me just say to anyone who's currently going through a lot right now, if you're taking it out on yourself physically, whether it's putting on a lot of weight, losing a lot of weight, or hurting yourself in some way, stop and try to take notice. You might not even know what's happening. I remember years ago watching the YouTuber Tomska talk about his own depression and the way that his weight fluctuated, and I always thought it was crazy that that could happen to someone, never realizing that one day it could happen to me. And it did. Just please remember to always look out for yourself, and that if you need help, to reach out. There are many sources available. I didn't seek help from anyone or anything, and it definitely made my problem worse and made it last a lot longer. So please, make sure you don't make the same mistake I did. All that said, let's get back to Your Lie in April. Out of all the things that went badly for me in late 2019, nothing was quite as bad as losing my, at that point, relatively long-term partner. For reasons I deemed necessary at the time, that very major relationship in my life needed to end. And I can tell you right now, that was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do in my life. And trying to deal with that loss was catastrophic on my mental and physical health, which is why I appreciate Your Lie in April so much. There was something about watching Arima slowly come to terms with his own losses, rediscover his passions, discover new ones, and just remember that even though life is very capable of knocking you down, at the end of the day, you can still get back up, was very helpful to me. The final duet between Arima and Kaori remains one of my favorite moments from any movie or show to date. As I was watching, I felt as though I myself was having a final duet with the love I had lost. Your Lie in April taught me how to get up from a major loss. It taught me to say goodbye to the things and people I love and keep moving forward. It was a major element in pulling me back from a very, very dark place, and I am grateful for it every single day. To end this video in high spirits, allow me to update you on all the good things that transpired after all the nonsense in 2019 here. Secondly, everything that actually happened is what helped to inspire me to start working on YouTube at all, so if it didn't happen, who knows, I might not even have a channel right now. And lastly, my physical health is better than ever. While I may have gone from well overweight to well underweight, after a lot of determination, I'm finally, after years of no body confidence, at a place that I'm happy with. There has been more good to come from all of this, but that will be revealed at a later time. For now, thank you for watching, and for all the love and support that has gotten me this far. I can't wait to see what the future holds. The next milestone video and the second part of this series will be released whenever I happen to hit 10,000 subscribers. So, if you want to see that, don't forget to subscribe and share the channel if you think others would like it. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Peace!